Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to be providing a long-term market analysis update for Algorand. We're going to talk about some very key levels of support and resistance, the Algorand Bitcoin ratio, some moving averages, and my longer-term outlook and stance on this altcoin. So if you guys enjoy the content, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Also, by the way, I will leave a link to my Twitter page in the description below. Feel free to go ahead and check that out. I'm fairly active over there as well. So the first thing that I want to talk about with Algorand is this key level of support I have marked out in green, ranging from 21 to 23 cents. Now this is going to be a very key region to watch out for in the next few weeks, especially as Algorand starts to retest this level for the first time since really going back here to November of 2020. So going all the way back here to the previous market cycle, we can see for Algorand this was a very key level of support in this bear market. Towards the end of 2019 and early 2020, Algorand held this level as strong support on all of these weekly candles. This is the level in which the weekly closes remained above, even though we had some moves on the wicks going below this region. Buyers and demand started to step in at this region, and then we had a pretty nice bounce forming this next lower high right here in February. And then eventually Algorand had that breakdown. It actually flipped it into resistance for a couple of weeks. And eventually when Algorand was able to break back above it right here in July of 2020, it had a pretty nice move making a higher high. And then eventually Algorand was able to come back down, retest that zone, flip it into support, and then go on this pretty impressive run forming a new all-time high. So again, we have come back down to that region, and currently we are retesting that on the weekly. So it's going to be very important to watch out for how Algorand reacts to this level. My expectation is that this is support until proven otherwise, and I would expect demand to start to step in at this region, considering that historically this has been a pretty important level of support for Algorand going back to that previous cycle. So if we do start to see some sort of bounce off this level, I would watch this level around 28 cents as a resistance. That was the previous zone of support that we've now broken back below. You can also see on this previous weekly candle, we tried to get back above that region, and you can see how the wick went all the way back above it, but ultimately the candle came back down for that weekly close under this zone. It was previous support back here in June as well as August. So if we do get a bounce off that region, look to see if Algorand can reclaim this, and a move reclaiming that level, such as I have drawn here, would be a pretty bullish sign and form some sort of deviation. So that is sort of the bullish narrative, the bullish argument. However, if Algorand does start to come back up to this level and it's unable to reclaim it and we start to flip it into resistance, this would be a very bearish sign for me, and it's something that I would look to for evidence that we might start to put more pressure on this zone of support and we might start to lose this as well. So I also do want to talk about the ALGO Bitcoin ratio, and one of the things I'm going to be looking at is this yellow line here, the 50-week simple moving average. So in the last video, we actually talked about two moving averages, the 21 weekly exponential moving average and the 20 weekly simple moving average. And we talked about how this was resistance throughout this bear market. If I just toggle off the 50-week real quick, you can see that this was a level of resistance. We had a pretty key rejection right here in May, and then we had continued resistance in these later months of the summer, June, July, August, all of these months coming up to this level, holding it as resistance, and eventually we did get that breakout above the moving averages and then came back down to retest it as support. And we started to see a little bit of fall through, we started to see a little bit of a bounce off this zone, but ultimately Algorand has started to come back down. It's broken below these moving averages yet again, and this definitely looks like a fake out now, where we're really starting to roll over from here. And this is largely due to the fact that Bitcoin made lower lows. It's starting to have a lot of pressure on that 16K region, and that's putting a lot of stress on the altcoins. So that underperformance is expected. Now, if we do continue to roll over from here, I'm really going to be focusing on this level of support that we've got around 1,200 Satoshis. Now, that was a low that we had back here in June. That's the area of support we found. This was also a previous region of support going all the way back here to 2020. So in December, we had these weekly candles coming back down to this zone, bounced off support, and we had to move up from there, going back up to the range highs. So this is going to be a very key level of support. Our longer term zone, the range lows, again around 1,200 Satoshis. That also happens to be pretty close to the all-time lows on the Algorand Bitcoin ratio. So I also do want to talk about the 50-week average, which is basically where Algorand found its resistance. This is where Algorand had this rejection. You can see on two attempts, the first one being in September and then the last one just a few weeks ago, Algorand on the Bitcoin ratio came right up to this level, both times holding resistance, and now we're starting to see that fall through again, the rejection back down lower. So this is going to be a longer term region I do want to see Algorand start to reclaim, and if we can reclaim this level, that could signal to me that Algo Bitcoin is probably going to start to move back up, and we might target some of these resistance zones towards the rate highs, and that would entail that Algorand would start to outperform Bitcoin, and that relative strength would really help out Algorand on this pair, where because of that relative strength, we could potentially see some of these resistance levels start to break and the support to start to hold. So I hope you guys did enjoy the content and the analysis. By the way, make sure to check out my Twitter page. I'll leave a link to that in the description below. As always, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.